Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of On to the Next One. Our guest today is Taaha Nizam. He's a serial entrepreneur who's also the founder of HashCase. HashCase is a project that's bringing real world utility into NFTs, helping onboard Web2 users into Web3 through existing businesses. Super cool project and super amazing person. Had a really interesting conversation with him and I hope you like it. Let's get to the podcast. Welcome to the first episode. This is this is on to the next one. Do you know what that is? Do you know why it's called that?
I think it's for people who have failed at something in life and have pivoted, and so then they're on to the next one.
Okay, so let's get to your story. Tell me, who are you? What do you do? I did go through hash this thing and stuff, but at the start, who is Taaha?
Okay, sure. So yeah, my name is Taaha Nizam, and I'm the founder of HashCase. I wasn't always running HashCase. When I was in college, we experimented with a lot of different startup ideas, my friends and I. We ranged from biotech to doing some stuff in edtech to doing some stuff with trading to doing stuff with fintech and all that. Ultimately, we found blockchain to be our niche. In 2018, I started my first Web3 company. It was an NFT-based DAO, but the word DAO hadn't been invented yet. Instead, we were just another NFT project. In around February 2019, now bear in mind, NFTs were very early at the time, right? So in 2019, early 2020, we managed to reach fifth highest on OpenSea based on our 24-hour traded volume.
Oh, so that's great. What is this called? What is this called?
It was called NFT Comics.
NFT
so it was a
comics.
DAO because the community would vote on what the comic should be, where the story should go, how many editions there should be, what the mint price should be. I mean, truth be told, we didn't know ourselves, so we thought, okay, fine, you guys just tell us and we'll roll with it. So yeah, we became a DAO. We started doing really well. We had collaborations with all the major NFT players who were very accessible at the time. Like back then, Discord wasn't riddled with bots and stuff, so you could just DM someone from a server and be like, hey, I'm looking to connect about something, and you could take it forward from there. So it was a really good time to be doing things. We hit that milestone of becoming fifth highest on OpenSea, and we immediately started getting acquisition offers. So there were a lot of crypto companies who wanted to get into NFTs, and the easiest way to get into this new sector was to make an acquisition, which we took. So we got acquired, and then I worked.
That's crazy. What? Okay.
Yeah. So then I worked for this Hong Kong-based company for 8 months, where I was head of blockchain over there. And over the course of those 8 months, I got into the big leagues. I started meeting some really cool people. I started understanding how a company should be built to begin with. After doing that for a while, I was very close to people in India working on Web3, and that's where I met a lot of good folks from Polygon who was at the time starting Polygon Studios. So they wanted to go from DeFi to NFT gaming and metaverse, and that's when the rebranding from Matic to Polygon happened. And together we built a blockchain incubator. We call that incubator Incept Think, because Inception plus Think.
Okay.
So we built a blockchain incubator. We started incubating a few NFT projects. We had a lot of support from Polygon, and we started building up from there. And after a while, we realized that the NFT market is getting saturated. This was just after the 2021 peak. We realized the reason why the NFT market is getting saturated is because NFTs are very developed, NFT utility is very developed, but NFT distribution is not developed. And the utility is pointless unless you can get it into the hands of the people who are expected to avail of that utility. Right. We also realized that, and this is my personal thesis, there are a lot of concepts like metaverse, play to earn gaming. They've always existed before Web3, and it makes sense for a small part of them to run on Web3, but they aren't necessarily married to Web3. So if you look at something like a Fortnite, you look at something like a Roblox, technically it is a metaverse. Right. Minecraft is a metaverse, right? It doesn't need to be married to Web3. So the only benefit that Web3 gives you is the fact that it's interoperable. Because if anyone else wants to build on the same blockchain, everything's by default interoperable with one another. And the second big advantage it gives you is that your assets are actually ownable. So you can sell or transfer them if you want it. So that was the logic behind building HashCase. We wanted to build HashCase by merging the words hash, because transaction hash, and case from showcase. And we figured that it makes sense to have a platform where you can own assets that are on Web3, but you don't need to get onto Web3, and Web3 is sort of coming to you. So what we do with
Got
HashCase
it.
is that you can log in with your email, a wallet gets created for you automatically, so you don't need to worry about seed phrases and private keys. Once that wallet is created, all the transactions you make are in fiat, so you don't need to worry about crypto as well. And the entire platform is inherently gasless, so you don't need to worry about gas fees as well. So you're signing in with email. There's a very nice JPEG that you just minted, and you can do whatever you want with this. And it's just incidental that it's a Web3 backed asset, but your experience is very, very Web2esque. And whatever utility and benefits you're getting, they're mostly powered by Web2. It's just your access token, which is the NFT in this case, is a Web3 based asset. So it's still interoperable with every other thing, but you can still own it. So we went ahead and built that out with HashCase, and we started looking for places where this could be used. We figured that NFTs have a lot of scope in ticketing. We figured that NFTs have a lot of scope in communities and DAOs. We figured that NFTs have a lot of scope in fan tokens and the likes of that. But what we ultimately narrowed it down to is loyalty programs, because I personally believe that the loyalty program industry is terrible. And the reason why it's terrible is because it's just a broken system. Like, they're collecting user data and giving you discounts. So it's like a direct exchange saying, give me your data and I'll give you a discount, and let's call it a loyalty program, which I don't think is the right way to approach it. So the way for approaching a loyalty program is by giving consumers something they can actually own that accrues values over time by them performing good actions or positive actions towards what the company wants them to do. And the fact that they own this means that they can transfer it and they can actually own their loyalty, which makes them owners rather than just users of a brand, which is what's currently happening. That's one reason why we think it makes a lot of sense. The second reason why it makes a lot of sense is that, I mean, to be very honest, if I bought something like a headset, I'm not really going to brag about the fact that I own a headset. But if I get a really cool collectible with it, then there's some shared social value in that. So that's another reason why I think this makes a lot of sense. And the third thing, if you just look at the luxury sector as a whole, like, things are priced because they are affiliated to a certain brand, or because they're limited edition, or because they have a certificate of authenticity. But isn't that exactly what NFTs also are, right? So we figured that it makes a lot of sense for these two sectors to work together, and that's what we narrowed it down on. And it's been going pretty well. We've been at it for 4 months, and in the last 4 months, we've had 7 brands come and sign up with us. And we've had 30,000 people come onto our platform and claim NFTs and make transactions. And there's been more than 200K worth NFTs traded. So we're starting to show some progress, and we're excited because we think that this is how things are going to go forward. And at the moment, we're on the main chains, but we're on every EVM chain, but we intend to go multi-chain as well. So hopefully someday HashCase will be the one place where you log in with an email, have all your assets, your entire loyalty is captured in one place, and you can transfer this or trade it as you see fit.
Right. Yeah, that was a lot of interest. This is amazing. This is super. It makes a lot of sense. I realized I should just start interjecting when I have the questions, but I have questions along this thing. So with the loyalty thing, it's kind of like, it feels like cred coins, but usable and ownable. Like,
exactly.
Right? Like, which is linked to your account, but you own it, right? You can just sell it off or whatever. You can do what you will with it. That's interesting, but it's just an NFT, like a profile that you can link everything to for a specific company, right? Or if Fortnite was to do it, if all the skins were on the blockchain, your experience doesn't change except that everything else is on the back end is on the blockchain, right? Yeah, got it. Interesting. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Okay, so the first question I have is totally not related to any of this, and that is, we'll like rewind a bit. How did you get into Web3 to begin with? Like, you started at the NFT project, but how did that happen?
So I got into Web3 because I was a very, very below average engineering student. And so I realized that I'm probably not going to get a job at this rate. So I needed to do something innovative so that I had an edge, because I knew that studies was not really my cup of tea, or at least that I wasn't as smart as I thought I was when I was getting into college. So
hey, let me just stop you for a second. You're from Bitspill and you're there.
Yeah.
It's surprising because I dropped out of Fiji, okay? As in, I did not write the engineering. I did not write JEE. after doing Fiji for 2 years because I was like, fuck it. Like I was like, this
Yeah.
not gonna happen, right? So it's. I mean, I know it's a common thing, but it's surprising actually hearing somebody who's in Bits Pilani say that.
No, so when I went to Bits, I thought I'm very smart. I thought, yes, here I am. This is my jam. But then when I started, attending classes and seeing how much smarter people around me, I was like, oh, okay. So that didn't really work out very well. But no problem. There are always alternate career options. So we can look for, doing a few things. And I was always very inclined towards entrepreneurship. So I had a biotech startup and we tried a whole bunch of other things. Ultimately, we started exploring with ML or derivatives trading and all of that stuff. And finally, we landed on Web3. When I say we, I mean all my similar friends who were just as useless as me and also realized that we're probably not going to get a job.
I mean, first thing here is, I mean, the idea that you're smart is still valid. Like that you haven't disproven that yet. So
I disproved it to myself very fast.
No, I mean, I'm saying it's still not disproven. Like it's still a valid this thing because hey, look, you're doing cool stuff. Like as in you're building.
Like 1 month in that college, and it was disproven to me.
So, I guess it depends on how you sort of define smart, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say you're smarter than most people.
So then we did this, and we started applying in a lot of hackathons, and we started having a lot of success in these hackathons. We eventually got to a point where the same team was applying with multiple names, and we were winning first, second, third, and all. Like we were just pooling together all the prizes and distributing that among ourselves, and we realized that we really have a knack for this. And there's a lot of scope.
Right. How many people were this? Like
5.
5 people. Oh, it's damn cool. Team of 5 people just going around and winning all these hackathons.
Yeah. So
what was your what was your favorite project from the hackathon? Did this come out of the hackathon? The NFT project?
This did not come out of the hackathon because at that time we weren't doing NFTs. So we were doing using blockchain as a decentralized ledger for legal applications, for internet and data interoperability, for things like that, different use cases of how blockchain can be used, and trying to create proof of concepts for that. I realized in some time that we were a bit late to the crypto game, but we were very early to the NFT game. And I really was keen and passionate about NFTs, and I wanted to do something in it. So I met my first co-founder on Discord, who was a decade older than me, and he was from Australia. Okay. And so he and I together co-founded NFT Comics and built it out together. And and yeah, we used to just check in every day or so and do things to take it forward. We had a few interns working with us. I wasn't very good at tech back then. I don't think I am even now. But yeah, so NFT programming is a bit easy as well. And we started working with that. And that's how I got into Web3 properly. And one thing I liked very, very much about Web3 is that, it's inherently open source and people are very helpful. So whenever you reach a roadblock, there's even now, right, there's always a Discord server you can go to and say that, hey, I've run into this issue, and there's someone who'll hit you up, get on a call with you, explain things to you, and get there,
That's pretty, that's interesting. I mean, as in Web3 as a community is also very welcoming and just open arms kind of listening everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. So wait, your first foray into Web3 besides the hackathons was the NFT project? Like as in, how were you in the Discord? Like what brought you there?
Okay, I'll explain. So at the time, there was only 2 ways you could learn what was happening because there wasn't any material out there. One is to be active on Twitter and one is to be active in Discord. And when you're active enough in Discord, then you'll start having a lot of conversations with people within Discord itself.
Right.
And that's how I met a lot of people, a lot of which I'm still friends with now. And that's also where I met my co-founder. And we started discussing ideas and what we could do, and if we tried to create our own project, what that would look like and things like that. And then we just decided, let's give it a shot. And we started doing it, and it started taking off. And so we kept doing it. And that just became a thing.
That's pretty nice. Damn. Okay, how much did the NFT project get acquired for, if you don't mind sharing?
That's a secret.
Okay.
Yeah.
Magic. It was a magical number.
That was a magical number, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so when you were deciding to sort of pivot or move on from the NFT project, NFT comics, what made you like take the decision? Was it financial, or was it like, did you feel like it was sort of run its course, or what was the deciding factor?
Yes, I felt like it had run its course. And I also felt like what we were doing was not necessarily innovative or impactful by itself. So when I started out in 2018, 2019, at that point, being able to deploy our own smart contract and add attributes and traits is not something everybody was able to do or even doing. At that point, like creating open editions was a huge deal. Like that didn't even exist, right? Or at that time, creating editable metadata or dynamic NFTs was considered to be extremely innovative, and that's what kept us ahead, right? So we realized that over time, like things had really caught up to us, and the kind of project we were doing was not well positioned to incorporate a lot of other things. And I guess we weren't smart enough to think of doing a PFP project back then, which we could have done. But like I got really fortunate because a little bit after the acquisition, I think 3 months after we got acquired, Board Ape Yacht Club launched, and once they
Oh,
launched,
this was pre Board Ape Yacht Club?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That didn't click for me when I heard you talk about it. Oh shit, that's really early. So you were creating
Right.
NFTs before BAYC was a thing. Interesting.
I was creating NFTs before Rarible was a thing.
That's insane.
Like before OpenSea and Rarible were big, there used to be this thing called trade.cargo, which people haven't even heard of, and like we used to like list NFTs over there. So,
That's insane. How did you miss CryptoPunks? Did you miss CryptoPunks?
I didn't. I did not miss CryptoPunks.
Okay.
I managed to flip a couple of CryptoPunks. So,
Okay. Nice. That's insane. You were really early. That's crazy. I mean,
I was
when you
into-
said it,
so I was into this project called Colored Coins, which is the
I don't know what
first
that is.
ever. That's what it's a NFT project that was built on Bitcoin, like way back in the day.
wait, what do you mean NFT project built on Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think
Like
someone had
Ordinals?
built an NFT project. No, even before Ordinals, the data was on Bitcoin.
Oh, is that possible? I thought it wasn't, which is why Ordinals
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
thing, no?
So I was like big into research, and I was always keen on collecting NFTs back then. So yeah.
And how are you funding this? Like with the hackathons or like? But I
So,
guess it
yeah,
wasn't
we're
as
funding-
expensive then either, right? Okay.
It wasn't. So Ethereum was
yeah.
$120.
Out of all the different things you tried before Web3, what was your favorite project? Like, what was the thing that you felt was most impactful? Or
I saw a lot of NFT projects happening around carbon credits and sustainability and wildlife conservation. And I think that really, stayed with me because it just makes so much sense. If you today
Okay.
donate to any wildlife conservation organization, you just get a thank you message followed by an email a few months later asking for even more money. But instead, if you could buy NFTs, not only are you getting updated on what's going on with the animal conservation, but it can also be tiered to put you sort of like in a club where you get to visit the sanctuary and see the impact your donation has made. And if these things become sort of like a status symbol, like I have a World Wildlife Fund's gold NFT, which means I've contributed more than, let's say, $100,000, and people start collecting that, then that just creates so much positive impact for the planet. And I think that's a really good use case that should be explored.
right, yeah, got it. I think my question wasn't clear, but this is an amazing answer. What I meant to ask
Okay.
was, so before NFTs and before Web3, all the different projects you tried out, right? What was your favorite?
So I worked on this project called Piezo Powered Soul.
Okay.
That was my first startup. That also made me a little
Okay.
bit of a celebrity in college. But
Okay.
the reason why that's my favorite project is because there is this disease called peripheral foot neuropathy. And at this point, I was
Okay.
doing a lot of research, and a lot of the diseases your body has depends directly on how you walk. And we were very surprised to see that how you walk depends less on how much pressure your body needs to put on the floor, and more on how much haptic feedback your mind expects to receive. If your mind becomes less susceptible to pressure, you start adding more pressure just because you want to get the same amount of haptic feedback. Like, this is a problem that can definitely be solved with technology, with sensors, with ways of measuring the pressure, with ways of giving the feedback at a different part of your body that's more sensitive. And like, there are a lot of ways this can be done. But till date, there isn't any cure for this. And there are cases in which it can get pretty extreme. And there's a direct correlation between peripheral foot neuropathy and diabetes, which is anyways on the ascendancy. So I remember being in the second year of college, we discovered this problem. We started researching into it, came across a few research papers, and we thought that this is like too impactful a problem to not solve. And so we put together a team of seniors, juniors alike, college professors. A lot of people were involved. We were sponsored by Texas Instruments, who sent us a bunch of microprocessors and sensors. We got access to a lab, built out a POC. We applied to this competition called India Innovation Challenge Design Contest. Got to the semifinals of that, which then later got called off because of COVID. And we won a lot of local competitions. And we ultimately built it to a point where we had a prototype, and everything was in order except for the fact that the sensors we were using weren't accurate enough. And so the only way for the project to continue was to build a better sensor, which would in itself become another project. And so that's pretty much where we stopped and went on to the next one. Yeah, because the current sensors that people use, which is either the piezoelectric sensors or the force sensitive resistors, either of them are fine, but they both have the same issue that they do not give you accurate enough readings, firstly, and secondly, they can sometimes give you current spikes which create false readings. So, we read some more research papers which implied that you could create a sensor that solves this purpose, but then that would become
Okay.
a task in itself. So yeah, we built it up to this point, and this was my first ever proper startup. And so yeah, this will always be very close to my heart.
That's insane. Like, even this is a huge deal. Like, okay, let's just agree that you're smart. Just give that for me. Like, just for my sake.
Okay,
Let's
fine.
just say
Yeah.
you're smart. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, people are watching. Yeah, I have to say I'm smart.
Yeah. But it's super cool. Has somebody tackled that problem so far, or is it still
Not
unsolved?
yet. Not yet. I'm actively
yet.
monitoring it. I am
Okay.
confident it will be solved in my lifetime for sure. So
Okay.
yeah.
Whether it's you or somebody else remains to be seen.
Right, yeah. Whether it's me or someone else. But my research is out
Yeah.
there for anyone who wants to take it forward.
Pick this up.
One of the craziest things I can tell you is that when I made this biotech startup, a whole bunch of people wanted to join it, and so I had to interview a lot of people in our college. And one of our juniors, we recruited him to work on the electronics of it. And
Okay.
as time went by, he was the person who introduced me to crypto, and then went
Oh.
ahead and launched his own NFT project. And when I started HashCase, my college junior was my first angel investor.
What? This is,
Yeah.
what? That's crazy. What project did he make?
He is the founder of Doge Capital.
I mean, like especially the NFT and just the DeFi space and stuff. It creates millionaires really fast, right? Like, have you been like an active trader? Have you? I mean, you've created projects, but have you been somebody who tried to get rich quick using crypto?
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
So I've done those things where you can get listings on CoinList and all those places. I've done those things where you buy early stage DeFi coins and then stake them and try to generate a lot of yield. I've done leverage trading or futures. I've done spot trading, which is like the safest, I guess. So yeah, I've done
Yeah.
my fair share of stuff. I've done that thing where
Okay.
a coin is going to get listed on an exchange, and so before that you buy up a lot. And so yeah,
The thing called insider trading.
it's not insider trading. Like exchanges are not. So.
Oh, yeah, exchange announces. Okay. What's the most amount of money you made in the shortest amount of time?
So there was an experimental GameFi project we did. And when we launched that, in the first day, we made $70,000. I think
On the
that's
first
up
day.
there on the first day.
Okay.
So I think that's definitely up there.
Okay. It's definitely up there among a few of the interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you did sell a company, so I'm assuming this is still like anything that you.
But I see that as making money over a long period of time. But I was actually
that's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah.
Right.
So has there been a point where you're like, I don't want to start anything anymore, or I don't know where to start? Like, I've tried all these things. Have you ever felt demotivated, or like, have you had to take a breather?
Fortunately, not yet.
Okay.
The opposite has happened, where I've had multiple ideas that I want to work on, and I think all of them are great, but I only have the bandwidth to do one of them well, and it's very difficult to choose. And just when you make that choice, other choices start seeming really good for the first 3-4 weeks. So yeah.
So how do you keep yourself balanced? I guess that's what I was coming to. How do you ensure that you stay motivated through your different ideas? Like, what keeps you going?
This might sound very strange, but I'm still working with the same people I was working with when we were experimenting back in college.
Really?
And so the core.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and since so that belief has been not just built up but also constantly validated and reinforced. Like we tried different projects, and we knew what we need to get over to succeed. And honestly, we weren't sure if we would, but we tried it anyway, and we did. And so now we know that there's a lot that we can do. That's one thing. And the second thing is that I can like constantly see a lot of change in myself, as in terms of how I approach conversations, in terms of how I approach situations, in terms of how I do things that I have been doing before, but I'm doing them differently now because of the experience I have had accumulated over time. And I'm very happy about that. Like I'm very pleased with my progress, and so that keeps me going.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, essentially, you're constantly trying different things and learning and growing and learning and growing. But it's so it's remarkable that you're able to do it super consistently. What does a average day look like for you?
Oh, okay. So the average day for me looks like I get up in the morning. There's a morning stand up. Then after that, I take care of a few things, like a few messages that need to go out, some content that we're in the process of building. I take a status check on some of the things that we're building that have near deadlines. Once that is done, then a lot of my time is spent on pitching and sales and making decks and things like that. That's primarily what I do. So that takes up a major chunk of my day. Once that's done, I have, since the last 2 weeks, been very involved in documenting ideas and things we've already done and all of those things, so that it's always there. So I do that for a little bit. Then at night we have the evening stand up. Generally, there's a little bit of troubleshooting. There always is, and that's it. Like I close it out with a little bit of research, maintaining my network, updating people, asking for help. That's all.
Okay, that's a work day. What does a personal day look like to you? When do you wake up? And like, how does the day? Okay, I mean, walk me through when you wake up.
Okay. Like, what do you mean?
So you wake up and then go directly to the stand-up, or?
Yeah. Sometimes I just take it from the bed only.
No pooping, no brushing. Just wake up, stand up.
I mean, generally, yeah. So generally, that's how it goes, because I'm very lazy, and I find it very difficult to sleep during the day. So like once I'm up, I'm up. It's regardless of how few hours I've slept, right? So it's like, okay, if the stand-up's at 11, then 10:45 is a reasonable time to set an alarm. which then will become 10:50, which will then become 10. But 10:55 I'm up, right? So all I need to do is get up. The laptop's already on, and my room just has a bed and the table, and the bed and the table are touching. So I just need to turn the laptop around, and it's facing the bed, and I just need to turn it back around later, and it's back on the table. So yeah.
Oh wow, that's what I was gonna ask. What do you do for fun? But you clearly are having a lot of fun with this. So, what else do you do for fun?
I play squash, and I like hang out with a lot of my friends. So a lot of my school and college friends I'm still in touch with. Because since I never had to move for work, I've always lived in the same place. So the people I grew up with, they're always around. We hang out and things like that. And I have a younger brother who's 10 years younger than me. So he's like a constant source of entertainment. And I just have like a lot of fun with him.
That's amazing. It's very wholesome. Like your story so far is very extremely wholesome. Like not so fun, but yeah, overall, it's very nice. It's very wrapped up. Like yeah, it's so cool. What's one thing that happened to you that you just can't believe? Like it's like when you think back on it, it's like the most ridiculous series of things had to happen for you for that specific thing or that event to happen. Like for example, I mean, now that I think about it, with with you finding your co-founder and stuff, it seemed like a very crazy sort of series of events before you met him. Your angel investor, that seemed like a very crazy series of events. Something like that. What would you say is the...
Okay, so this is something I don't tell a lot of people because there's no need to, but that first biotech startup, that idea was conceived at a hackathon that was only for bio-related projects, which at the time I had no interest in. But the only reason we registered for it is because it came with complimentary catering from outside in the college. So we figured that at least our lunch and dinner for 3 days, and you heard a lot about college mess food, right? Our mess food wasn't very bad, but we thought that if nothing else, our lunch and dinner for 3 days is sorted, right? So going for the hackathon is a no-brainer.
Right.
So that's how we went for a bio thing, considering none of us in our team were from bio. Right. So we went there thinking that, it doesn't matter. We just go chill for a bit, eat, and see how this goes. And then I think on day 2 of the hackathon, we were like, we can actually win this. So yeah, we had friends join our team who also joined to eat. So yeah.
Are they still with you? Are they still in the team?
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. I swear
such kind of people don't get jobs, man.
I mean, you don't need to. That's the best part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
these kind of people don't need jobs. Oh my god.
It was sort of like there's a competition happening in our college. It doesn't really sound interesting at all, but we know that the catering has to happen from outside because people are coming from outside, right? So let's register for it, and we'll see. And then we registered for it, right? And the food was amazing. And so people were like, holy shit, I want in as well, but I haven't registered for this. And I was like, okay, no problem. I have a team. This is what we need to do. And yeah.
Can you do it?
This is the reward, yeah. This was organized by Leeds University in England. So those guys also came over. So our food was on point. If it wasn't for that event, I would have never built the biotech startup, which brought me a little bit of fame, which put me in a position where I could pick and choose and interview people to join my team. And I probably would have never met the guy who brought me into crypto, who is also the person who has, his friend is now my CTO. And I'm not sure when I would have gotten into Web3 and crypto if I hadn't met him. So, yeah.
Okay, so this is weird. This is a weird set of cards. I'm sure you haven't seen this before. And I'll explain the concept to you. Do you do your own laundry?
Yeah.
So how often do you say socks go missing? Do you always wear matching pairs or similar kind of pairs? You don't, okay. Oh, so yeah, that makes sense. Neither do I. I made it like a thing where I don't wear matching pairs at all. But it was primarily because I didn't want to put in the effort of
Keeping them together.
matching the
Yeah,
pairs.
exactly.
Exactly. What I have here is a deck of cards that is essentially what is that? Socks. It's pictures of socks. Okay.
Okay.
It's mixed up, so it's gonna be random.
Okay, fine.
I just realized. Is it back now? There's lag. So what I want you to do
It's
is,
back now.
okay. So I'm gonna go like this. I want you to say stop. Okay.
Got it.
There are not many of them, so
Stop.
you can choose right here.
Stop. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we'll just move this to the side, and out of all these mismatched pairs, I was hoping you would pick the only pair that matched. Like, look at this. Wait, I'm just trying to. I don't want to touch these. Just make sure I'm not. But look at this. Like, out of all these pairs that could have been essentially selected, like, you picked the only two that matched. Do you
Nice.
believe me?
Yeah, dude. I do.
Oh shit. I mean,
No problem. No problem.
I said it matches, but I didn't tell you to what, right? This is
Right.
the socks that I was wearing. Is it the same? Let me just. Can you see? I have not done this on camera, so I can't.
No, I can see.
You can,
Dude,
right?
that is insane.
But you know how it works. So these are my favorite socks.
Okay.
So it works because they're my soulmates. Like soulmates. Get it?
Got it.
Soulmates.
So why does it work when I choose them?
Because we are soulmates. Okay, I'm kidding. But
Yeah,
here's the
your
thing.
girlfriend's gonna love that.
The socks,
Yeah.
I realized it after I said it. So the thing is, all the other socks, right? They're each other's soulmates too. So sometimes they end up finding each other, right? They end up sort of making it seem like
Oh damn.
just and bam.
Okay, so where is the other one of these two that matched?
There isn't. These are the only
Oh, they aren't
unmatching
in the
pairs.
deck at all. Oh, got it. Dude, that is wild.
I know, right? Super weird.
This is a good trick.
Thank you. Okay, so having built so many things out, what is one takeaway that you have? Like, what's one thing that you've learned from having built all these different things?
One thing that I've learned is that at least this is something that applies to me. It might not apply to everyone. But what I have learned is that you shouldn't build alone. And the reason why I feel that is because somewhere along the journey you're going to need help. And it becomes very difficult to bring someone at that point and bring them up to speed and have them, share the vision and care about it as much as you do then.
Right.
So it's just that much easier to have a mix of people from the start, and it does not matter whether you are all contributing equally or near equally even, as long as they're good people to hang around with, and as long as they care about you and what you're building, so that when the time comes, not only can they contribute with something that they like something that they excel at, or not even excel at, but like just something that you won't have to worry about. But more importantly, it's not a single-minded vision that's being followed. And I think that's really
Right.
important, because that's a mistake I have made. What I'm trying to say is that, let's say you want to build something. It could be the example of the podcast, right?
Right.
So I'm assuming at the moment you're building everything from scratch by yourself, right?
Right.
And that's great. But if this really starts scaling up, you'll get to a point where you might need someone to help you with the editing. You might need someone
Right.
to help you with like a constant supply of tricks. that you can perform. You might need someone
Right.
to help you with the setting and everything, right? And you may or may not always be able to find the right people, but more importantly, they might not care about this as much as you do because they
Right.
haven't seen this from its
Day
inception,
one. Say day
right?
zero, yeah.
Exactly. But at the same point, if you get people involved, and it could just be your girlfriend, for example, and she doesn't need to be doing anything significant, right? But if you have people involved from the start, then even if it's not something that they necessarily excel at, just because they care about it so much, they can do it well. So, for example,
Right.
if I was your roommate who's like, involved in every podcast from the start, I wouldn't really mind taking aside like 4 to 6 hours on the weekend, watching different magic tricks and saying, do you think you could do this? Do you think you could do that? Which really reduces your research time. Or I wouldn't really
Right.
mind, like, learning how lighting and how to make like a softbox or how to make like a properly designed background would work. But I wouldn't mind learning video editing because to some extent, I'm now invested in this as well. I've also seen
Right.
this go from like a passion project to like a full fledged thing, and like that communication of sorts has been built up, right?
Got it.
So so yeah, like that's one thing that I've done myself in the past, and then sort of come to regret later on. But like because
You mean
it's hard
building
to
on
get
your
people
own? Right. Got it.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah,
Yeah, I
building by
got it.
myself.
Do you have time to be a
Yeah,
researcher on this podcast? Boom.
dude. But wherever I can help you, let me know. I'm down. Like I'm technically the first
Absolutely.
guest, so I can say I've been
Yes.
here since day one. So yeah.
Exactly. Next question. What is, if you had one advice to give yourself when you were starting out, what would it be?
The one advice I'd give myself is to talk to people about my problems more. Because when I got into college, like when you get into college, that's the first time you have problems. Until then, you don't. And
Right.
when you do, your first instinct is to try to deal with them yourself because it's a new experience. But
Hmm.
by the time you get to your third or fourth year, you're very comfortable now. Like at the hint of a problem, you know who you're going to run to, right? So if I could give myself some advice, it would be to start out with that initially. Like just talk to people when you're going through something because either they help you understand that it's not a big deal, or if it is, then it's okay. Like yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Okay, so just open up. Make sure you have a solid support system, right?
I mean, I
Do
had
you have a
already,
favorite?
but I just wasn't talking to them.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, you had a support system, but you were okay. So it's essentially more about opening up in that
Yeah,
case, right? Being comfortable enough to
exactly.
open up and have the conversation
Yeah, exactly.
that you feel like you should. Okay. Do you have a favorite playing card?
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, pick one. Pick one at random.
Okay, I picked one.
Which one is it? If you tell me, I'm not a mind reader.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. I'll pick um, 5 of spades.
Let's do this. Fuck it. I'll just show you the 3-card Monty again. I have 3 cards. This is going to be
Yeah.
complicated because I have more control over the cards. It's in my hand, right? So I'm gonna most definitely trick you. Okay. So I have 2 Ace of Clubs and 1 Queen of Diamonds. You need to
Right.
find the Queen of Diamonds.
Okay, cool.
Where is the Queen? Wait,
Middle.
no. That would have been. Wait, no. Wait, okay. Where is the Queen of Diamonds?
At the top.
I mean, that is correct. But where is the Queen of Diamonds?
In the middle.
That's what you'd say. But where is the Queen of Diamonds?
Dude, it's in the middle, right?
No, it's in the bottom. The thing is, it would seem like there are a bunch of Queen of Diamonds, right? Where is the Queen of Diamonds?
Top.
No, it's in the middle. You were right before. So the thing is, if you look at it carefully, it'll seem like there are more than one. Which is why it's kind of confusing, right?
Yeah.
Because you do know that you saw the Ace of Clubs, right? This is something that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know you saw. And you know that the one on the bottom is the Ace of Clubs and the one on the top is the Ace of Clubs. But what you
I
don't know
know
is
for
the
sure
one in
that
the
there's
middle.
at least one.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, but the truth is there's like 3. The question is, if this is the Ace of Clubs and this is the Queen of Diamonds, what is this?
Ace of Clubs. No
Boom.
way.
Boom.
No
Did you
way.
say 5 of Spades? Because now that I think about it, I feel like you said 5 of Diamonds, but I was distracted and pulled out the 5 of Spades.
No.
You said 5 of
I
Spades.
said 5 of Spades.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
No, but this is
Amazing.
This is wild. Like, this is a really good project.
Yeah, this is one of those things where if you see it in person, you feel like you know exactly what's going on, but you have no clue when you're in it.
Yeah, like when you see
Amazing.
the 3 cards stacked in your palm, you can't really tell, right? Middle or bottom.
Yeah, exactly. It's very difficult to, yeah. What is the biggest magic trick that you've pulled in your life?
I think the biggest magic trick we've pulled in our life is just continuously what we do. Because if you were to ask me, can you do this? I would have to say no. But then I am doing that. Sometimes we don't even understand it ourselves. So, like, for example, I don't really see myself as someone who could do a marketing position in a company. But I am overseeing the marketing stuff in my company. And it's working. Or, like, I don't really see myself as someone who would, who can do a lot of the things that I do, but I do them anyway. And it's not just me. It's all the people that I work with, because like since I've been with my friends for a very long time, I've gotten to a point where they come to me and say, how do I do this? And I'm like, how do you expect me to know? Like, figure it out. And they do. And so, yeah.
So I guess what you're saying is we are more powerful than we think we are, or we know more than anything is figure outable. It's a combination of those 3 statements. Right?
Yeah, it's a combination of that.
Give me advice on pivoting.
Okay, so this is something that was given to me. So I guess I'm just passing it forward. And that is, don't think of what you can do and choose from that. Instead, think of what you think has scope and needs to be done and try to choose from that. Yeah, I mean, like it's very solid advice, because generally when we want to do something, we figure out what we think we can do and then pick from that. But the truth is that we don't know what we can do, right? So, like, for example, it's like if I was to think of what do I think I can do, I'm going to always think of like maybe make a metaverse. I think I can easily do that. Or maybe make an NFT marketplace. I think I can very easily do that. But if I were to instead think of like what do I think is like one of the coolest things that can be done at this point, maybe that's like making an Asian fusion restaurant, which I know nothing about. But if I start coming up with ideas like these and pick one of those, I'll figure everything out along the way and I'll find people to help. And it'll just be a much better journey to be on. Right?
Why limit yourself, right? As long as it interests you and you think you can solve it, go ahead.
It doesn't matter if you think you can't solve it. That's fine.
Yeah, just figure it out. Or see what happens. Fuck around and find out. Your advice, right, is fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
That was the cleanest way you could have said fuck around. I just realized that's essentially the advice is fuck around and find out. But yeah. So out of like all the people that I've spoken to who's pivoted before that, and I mean non-podcasty context, you're the first person that I've spoken to who's pivoted smoothly. That's why I said the wrapped around with a bow thing, because it's beautiful to see you go from idea to idea without burning out, which is a massive respect, because it requires a lot of so like knowing yourself and knowing your limits and things that, or how far you want to push yourself without essentially breaking, or like having to take a major breather while continuously building, right? So that's super impressive. Like it's something that's remarkably awesome.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. Okay.
So thank you so much for coming to the first episode. This was great. I forgot to
pleasure's
say
all
that,
mine.
but yeah. So okay,
yes,
cool.
Definitely. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of the podcast. I hope you learned something. And if you really like this, share this with your friends who are also builders. Maybe they'll find something inspirational. And let me know if you have any suggestions. Leave them in the comments. Feel free to DM me. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, etc., etc., etc. Looking forward to meeting you in the next episode. Up until then, thank you so much for your support. Take care. Bye-bye.